start recording. So I'm recording this. Okay, so the comment is hash. So whenever you have to make a comment, just use your hash. Okay. So this first thing I want to do, like in every programming language, we have what is called hello world. Okay. So how do we display hello world? In Python, you just say print, and then you put in your function. Okay, print, and then you put in your text in double quotes. Python also accepts single quotes, but it's for good conversion, because when you go to other programming languages, you may find it difficult. So just stick with this. Then at the end of your code, you don't need to put a semicolon or any other thing. Okay, Python does not require that. Okay, there are programming languages that is compulsory, like C, Java, C#, and C++. But for Python, you don't need to bother yourself with terminating a line with a semicolon. So I'll just click on this play here. How can I make this go away now? Okay. So I'll just click on this play, and we should have code, because this is the first time I'm running into it. It's going to first connect to a runtime, and once it's connected, I think it's done. Okay, so I should have hello world. This is just basic programming. If you're learning C, you also need to do something like that. When you do your int main, and then you do printf, then you put in your hello world. Python also have printf as well. Printf simply stands for formatted output. Okay, so let's do this. Let's do this. Let's run this and make sure it's working. I've done it already.
Okay, sure.
Let's do this quickly. So make sure you save where it says untitled one. Just save it as day one. Just renaming it like that so that you can follow along. So in this day one, we're going to look at arithmetic operators. Let me just say operators basically. Look at operators, strings, input, output, and control statements. Okay, so these are basically the major goal for today, and what happened? Okay, this thing, let me just do it manually then. So just add. You don't need to do that just for purpose of this class, just to show us our objective for today. These are not programming stuff, these are just something that's collab. So these are objective: operators, strings, input, output, control, statement, and loops. Discuss each of them as we go along. Okay, so we can also print another thing. You can print anything. print and put your name. Welcome to Python, and then comma, and then put your name and run it. Okay, very important too. Very important. Use and data types. Okay, so now it's just the first thing. Any program you learn or you are learning, the goal is to get you to achieve this, to print a hello world. Okay, that's usually a start point. So, but now we want to move on. So I'll just, while I'm on this my code section, okay, I'll just click on plus. So if you want to look at variables now, so I'll put my comments, variables and data types. So what are variables? What are variables? Have you heard the word variable before? So what are variables? At least we have used calculator now, isn't it? I've used calculator before. And sometimes when you do some calculation, you want to keep the result because you want to use it again later, isn't it? Like maybe you are trying to calculate standard deviation, you want to keep the average or the mean so that you use it to get your variance. What is it called? Abi? So variables are that concept that in programming that shows that you want to keep a data or a value for later use. For instance, if I say print and I just say 3 plus 5, okay, so if I say you should print 3 plus 5, it just give me 8, and that's the end. That is the end. I cannot get that 8 in any other means. But what if I say A is equal to 3 plus 5? That means add 3 and 5 and store it in variable called A. So that's the concept of variable. Okay, so that's the concept of variable is because you want to keep data for later use, and you cannot program without variables. It's not possible. It's not. It's just like every time you're on your phone, it's telling you set pin, set pin. What is that? That means it doesn't store your pin, but it keeps it. And whenever you type the pin, it checks that this pin and the one you have, are they the same? Because there's what? There's a variable. Okay. Now, variables and data type, they are very, very connected. What do I mean? When you specify variables in the computer, you are telling the computer that you want to store something in memory. And the way the computer memory works is that it doesn't store data the same way, or the data that it stores based on the type, it does not allocate the same storage space to it. So for instance, when you are storing integer, when you are storing floats or decimal numbers, these numbers do not, they are like this. Okay, they they are different numbers. Just like in mathematics, if you want to add them together, you may want to first keep the decimal on one side and work with the whole numbers before bringing back the decimal, whatever way you want to do it. So in the computer memory also, data types are connected with variables. Like for instance, this result now is not stored in the memory. But if I'm to store it, it's going to pick a particular type. So, but the thing now is that Python is not very strict with data type. What does it mean? It means that you may not specify. It will pick the data and choose a type for you. Okay? But if you go to other programming languages, you have to specifically say this variable is going to hold integer, that means whole number between 0 and 1. This variable is going to hold decimal, which define it as float. Okay? By that act, you have said that this thing is going to take a number. The number could be either integer or float. An integer will not take floating numbers. When you hear float, just know about decimal numbers. Numbers with decimal places, like 1.0. Okay? So variables and data types, they are intertwined. Okay? A variable cannot exist without data type, because you are simply saying that keep this thing in memory for me. So what's the type? You have to specify. So there are some programming that specifically requires you to specify the type. We call those, in programming terms, implicit declaration. Implicit declaration is you define it first. But Python is not in that game. Just assign any value to your variable. Based on the value you assign, that variable picks that type. If the next line you give it another value, that variable picks another type. That's how Python has been designed to work. But that's not the case. This particular scenario is only peculiar to Python. If you go to any other programming languages, they are very strict. In C, Java, C++, and the like, you have to specify the type. If you don't, it's not going to work. You start having issues. Okay? So what are these types that we have? They are still the popular type. These are variable types that cuts across any programming language. So we have what is called string. Okay, string is when you want to hold, you want to store text. Okay, so let's start with the first one. So let's say name is equal. Why are you typing my name? Careful. Okay, so we have name is equal Alice. This is not mathematics, this is programming. Okay, we are saying that what is on the right should be assigned to what is on the left. So if you run this program, what it does is that the computer is going to create a memory location called name and store a value called what? Alice in that location. So next time when you need Alice, you don't say print Alice, you say print name. As you can see the suggestion here, print name, and it will go ahead and print Alice instead of name. It will go ahead to print Alice. Okay, to go ahead to print Alice. Then, so this is of what type? Is of type string. So we're going to combine everything together so that we can make progress. So we can say print and say type name. Okay, so let's remove this. So I'll just call it strange. Okay, so that will follow along. Next one will be integer. So let's run this. So what do you have? It says that, so first is we have assigned Alice to a variable called name, right? Then we say print name, which is why we have Alice here. We now say should print the type of this variable called name. It says the class is what? str. Okay, so what does that mean? It's telling us that this variable name has a data type called string. Okay, then we also have another one, age. Okay, so the same thing for age. So this is why I want to use Google Colab, so that it helps me to speed up. It's quite in line. It's thinking in my direction. So you have another concept which is called integer. Integer simply refers to whole numbers. So for instance, it is inappropriate to declare your age as a floating value. It means that you are disconnected from reality. Somebody cannot be 12.5 years old. It's usually exact. So when you are dealing with numbers or values that are going to be exact, you want to use what? Integers. Though in Python you do not specify, okay, whether it's integer or not, just assign the number to it. So in our own case, we say age is 25, print age, and then type of age, and that will give us a result. Then thirdly, we have the float. Okay, float or decimal. For instance, I say pi equal to 3.14. So it's at the point of assigning a value to a variable that it takes its type in Python. But for that programming language, you have to define the type at the time of declaring the variable. Are we following?
Yes, sir.
Am I making sense?
Yes, sir.
Who is confused here? Anybody? Okay. Then, so we have seen a string, integer, float. Then we have another one which is the Boolean. Okay. Boolean. Boolean is something that takes true or false. Okay, true or false. True or false. Okay. The only value you can assume is either 0 or 1, true or false. 1 is true, 0 is false. These are the only value you can take. So when you declare a variable as Boolean, it means that it can only take this type. It can't take number 2, for instance, or 3, but it can take 0 or 1. Okay, so let's run this and let's see what we have. So we can see Alice class is string, 25 class is int, 3.14 class is float, and then we have true, class is bool. Class is bool. Okay, so that's basically the type. Then lastly, we have the one that is more like you are declaring something as nothing. Okay, how do you declare nothing in Python? Okay, you just say none. Okay, none. Use the word keyword none. Okay, it has to be like this, none. So you can declare nothing in Python by saying none. And to tell you that the class is what? Non-type. 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 Any question? Okay, so let's move on to. So with this, we have just demonstrated variables and types. Okay, we have just demonstrated variables and types. So we can move on to operators, right? So we can move on to operators. So let's look at operators. So what are operators in programming? What are operators in programming? Operators are special symbols. Okay? They are special symbols that have meaning or specific meaning in a programming language. Okay? So it means that it's not just any symbol. There are specific symbols that have specific meaning in that programming language. Of course, our focus will be on Python. Okay? And operators are tied to operations. Most cases, it could be arithmetic operations or conditional logic. Okay? So in operators, for instance, we have the first category, which is the arithmetic operators. We have conditional operators, which I want to look at when we go to control structures. We have binary operators. So these are all operators, and they all define what happens between two operands. Okay. So operands are basically what the operator will act upon. Okay. So for instance, in math, we say 2 plus 2, right? So that 2 and the other 2 in programming is referred to as an operand. Okay. The plus there is the operator. Okay. The plus there is the operator. So let's say we have our number as, let's say, 34. We have our height as 3 points. 7 6. Then we have a complex number, which could be anything like maybe 3 plus 6j. We still remember complex numbers in mathematics. Okay? So in Python, this you can actually represent. So it's not like it's going to add 3 plus 6j. It will store it as a complex number. So for example, if we print this now, you will see that you can see you have 34, you have 3.46, you have 3 plus 6j. If I remove the j now and print, I have a different result. Can you see that? It gave me 9. So Python understands how to store complex numbers. Okay, in some programming languages, it's not this straightforward. So I just entering like this. Some of them it's not even possible, like C, to store complex. You have to probably store this in one variable, store this, store 6 in another variable, and then store j in another variable, like 3 variables, just to represent this. So all this is just showing the power of Python. So, but now let's look at these operators. So let's look at the first one, which is a plus. So let's say we have x is equal to 10. Let me just quickly use this to show us that in Python you can assign variables to multiple values. You can assign multiple values on a line. Let's check to make sure that if there is no error, it means that I got it right. Okay. So what is that? X comma y is equal 23 comma 25. What is this? This is peculiar to Python programming. So some of the things I are seeing here, they are majorly Python programming related, like this one and this one. Is there anything? You never pay for this class, so.
How much? Talk about that bit.
1 million.
1 million. Oh, that's the chicken cheese.
So you can see. So this is another way of doing this on like the normal way. This will work in any programming language. X equal 23, y equal 45. This will work in any programming language. But this one is specific to Python. Okay? But what are we doing? We just want to assign, maybe I should just leave this for now. And just want to assign a value to x and another value to y. We want to use that to demonstrate operators. So we start with the first operator. Okay? Now we are going to start with what is called so we're going to use formatted output. Okay, using all these comments is helping the Gemini to give me an idea. You can see it's always giving me an idea what I'm trying to do, but I didn't get it right. Okay, so when we talk about formatted output, using formatting, what did I do? We talk about formatted output. We are trying to bring in comments. Okay, like for instance, you get a message that says the phone number 000 is not valid. That's a formatted output. Okay, so just saying number is not valid. What number? Okay, so let's use formatted output to represent this thing that we're trying to achieve. So we want to show each operators. Okay, we want to show each operators. So whenever you see curly brace, know that I'm trying to get, I'm saying replace what is in that curly brace with the value. This is a variable. Okay, so when you want to do your formatted output, the first thing you need to do is to bring in your f. Just put f. Okay, normally when you need to print, you just print, you put in your curly brace and you put in what you want to print. But for formatted output, when you say print, the next thing after your opening bracket is your f, and then you have your quotes. Okay, so now what do you want to print? You can put in anything now that you want to print. Okay, I need to print it out for you. So you can see it still works. Okay, even with f or no f, it still work, right? But now we are trying to say we want to bring in something here, which is the values. Okay, so if I say hello and I do something like this and I put in x, what am I saying? I'm saying that in place of that x, give me what is inside x. But if I do it like this, hello, and I put in x, what do you think I will get? You can see it gave me just hello x. But I need the value. So what do? I need to put in my curly brace. I think I need to use my shift. And then to give me the value. Okay? So let's not be confused with that. So I want to say, I want to just show this x plus y is equal what? X. So in case you look, I'm repeating. I'm not repeating. Okay. So what is this doing? It's just I want to see, add this together. Okay, and tell me that is what x plus y is. Okay, but the goal is to show this arithmetic operator. So let's see. Hey, what does that mean?
Took the plus as a string.
Sorry. Okay, so you have print x plus y. So you can see my x plus y is still there. Then you can see 28. That means this plus this is actually 28. Right? So that's just what I'm trying to demonstrate. But I want us to see the operators in our output, not just 28. So that's why we are using formatted output, which we will also be using a lot. Then to do so just to do subtraction, just change it to what? Minus. To do multiplication, change it to asterisk. Then to do division, you use what? Use your forward slash. Then you also have to get the remainder. Is this guy listening to me? So to get the remainder, we can use that. So but let's add something in the front for. Okay, so let's add. I've added it outside the. So this is addition. This is subtraction. This is multiplication. This is division. This is This is floor division. So in Python you have the option, then you have modulus, and then you have exponential. How do I write that? Exponential. Okay. So, but in this case, let me just use a smaller value. So I'll change my value of x and y to something simple. Okay. So change my x and y to something simple so that you can see it. So let's run it. So you can see addition of x and y 28. Then subtraction of x and y is 18. That means 28 minus minus what? What is my y? Minus 5. That's 18. Then x times, okay, that means 28 times 5. 115. Then you have division. 28 divided by 5. It goes 4 times and the remainder is 6. Floor division. Floor division is that divide and give me the whole number. Forget about the decimal part. Okay, so if you divide what is that, 5 into 28, how many times can it go? 4. Okay, so what happens? So it gave me just what is it called?
The whole number.
Just gave me the whole number and left out
Fraction.
the fraction. Then you now have the modulus. What modulus does is to give me what is remaining from the division. Okay, so there's a function, there's an operator in Python to do that. Some languages do not have this implementation, but Python has the percentage sign. Then when you use it, it's going to give you the remainder of a division. You say 19 divided by 19 to give you your remainder, which is 0. Okay. If you say 10 divided by 9 to give you a remainder, which is 1. So if you want the remainder from an expression, you use the modulus. Then exponential, just raised to power. So we say x is 2 and y is 3. So 2 raised to power y is 8. 2 times 2, 4 times 2 is 8. So that is that about these are arithmetic operators. So arithmetic, there are 3 operators that we have, which we are going to look at as we go on. But these are all the arithmetic operators that we have in Python. Okay, so from this class, now you know that for addition you use plus, for subtraction you use the dash or the minus sign, for multiplication you don't use x, you use asterisk, for division you use what? Forward slash. For floor division, that means you just need the whole number part, you use double slash. And then to get the remainder you use as percentage, then to get exponential double asterisk. Okay, so this is pretty straightforward, right? Okay, so what's the next thing on operators? Okay, strings. Strings, then we look at input output. And let's look at strings then. So in Python, you can represent your strings in this form. For instance, you can say greet is equals hello. You can also say greet again, or let's say greetings is equal hello world. Okay, so I think I highlighted that. So in Python, it doesn't have any problem. If you like use single quotes, it works. If you like use double quotes, it works. Like I really recommend that just stick with double quotes, because if you go to other programming languages, if you are used to single quotes, you may suffer with your code. Every time you just be getting error. Why? Because you are already conditioned to single quote for strings. Okay, but since Python has said both, why not just stick with the double quote, so that if you need to, when we go to JavaScript or any other language, it flows. You don't have to have issues with because for other programming languages, single quote is for a single character. Okay, like you want to store y. Okay, but Python, you can use single or double quotes. Then also, if you want to store multiple lines, okay, you want to store multiple lines, you have that as well. You just use your 1, 2, okay, use your 1, 2, 3 quotes, and then you can type okay, then we'll end it with so let's add something here. Okay, so this is multi-lines in Python. Python is saying this in as a statement whereby you are trying to store what is called create multi-lines of of strings. So, and then we can print it out so you can see what you have. Hello world. You can see this is going to be a long, so you can see just as you have presented it. Okay, printed it out for you. So that is representation of strings when it comes to Python. Then let's look at some strings operations. I think I need to comment these operators. Okay, and this is just this is a string representation. So let's look at string operations. And what you can do with strings, like you can add them together or join them together. String operations. So let's have first as first name is equal John Doe. I don't want to use John Doe. First name is equal to Anu. last name is equal to OB. Okay, so we have some string operations that we can perform. For instance, full name is going to be first name plus last name. Now, if you look at this, you can see that we say full name equal first name, that means this, plus, then there is a quote with a space. That is because we don't want to join them together. Okay, for example, I just say first name plus last name, and I print this. Okay, what do I have? You can see it has joined everything together. Okay, so that idea of putting plus and then a space, because in programming, anything you want the computer to do for you, you have to specify it. There is no auto correction of your output. It's what you have specified that you have. So if I run this again now, I should have a space between Anu and Obi. If I want the first name to be the first, and then make comma, so what do? First name, last name, then I put my comma here, and I put my first name. Okay, so you can see that here. You can see the OB, then the comma, the space, then the Anu. So that is how you concatenate strings. Concatenate. Okay, then we have other operations that we call strings methods. Why are they called string methods? They are called string methods because you remember when we checked the type of a variable, it told us that it's a class. Okay, it told us that for instance, it says this string this first name is of type str and it's a class. So it means that there's a method attached to it. Okay, methods are simply additional functions that we can do with that variable. For instance, if I want to get the uppercase of the first name, or let's use the full name, since we have the full name already here, let's just work with the full name. So what do? I will say print. I will now put what? Full name dot upper. Okay, dot upper. So that will give me the full name in uppercase letters. You can see from this small letter it has changed to this. Okay, then let's do the lower. So let's say print full name dot lower. Okay, so you can see it's now in lowercase. Then you also have full name dot capitalize. full name dot capitalize. Capitalize simply means that make the first letters, the first letter in each word uppercase, which we already have here. So I'll just correct it. Okay, I'll make everything small letter so that we can see it. So you can see Abi. You have to change it to A now. It's O now.
Change it to A.
I was now wondering where is A coming from. Okay, so you have Obi Anu in small letter, you have it in capital, you have it in lowercase, then you have it in capitalized. What happened? This was not capitalized.
Now it's done title.
Okay, so let's do dots title. Okay, so that will make sure that each word in the what is it called? Each word in the string is given a is given an upper case. Okay, so we have upper, lower, capitalized title case. Then we have some other string operators as well. Okay, swap case, of course, it knows. So from unlike the revert, let's just add that somewhere. So we want to have full name dot. Let's get the test count. So let's have it. Where is it? No. That will be len. Len of name. Let me do this first before. I want to remove comma from the full name. Okay. So full name dot replace, so that it doesn't add the comma as part of the length. Okay, so let's remove comma and the space. Now let's leave this space. So we have that. So that this will now give us the length without the comma. Then let's get the count. So let's get the count of specific characters. So let's say I'm going to use another word. Text is equal programming. Just double click on that and put it in quotes. Then I can do my text.count. Is it count the M and what else do we have there? And the G. Okay, so tell me how many how many M and how many G we have there. So let's put in a F. Number of M is, okay, number of G is what did I do? What did I miss? Okay, I didn't close my quotes. This has to be this now has to be single. I have double. It's gonna confuse Python. Okay, so it tells us the length is 7 without the comma, because we said we want to replace the full name with blank. So it checks for comma in this full name and replaces it with empty string, so that automatically removes it. And then we can print the length, and then here we are counting to know how many times does M exist in this text. So text.count. Okay, so and this goes on and on. You have other string functions, but with this we have been able to, I think, discuss the major ones so that we don't clog the with too many. So let's run all that. Are we using one hand? If you are using one hand, it's not phone you're pressing on. Pressing laptop, use your two hands.
is missing.
Yeah. The Airtel router in the house is still okay now. Mm. Mine fine. So what are you using on the internet?
I don't really have a top.
You need to put data on the MiFi or any other thing. Let me see if I can pause this recording. Play it and just go back. So I think we stopped at strings, right? And then looked at the input output. So you have the x, y to store the results. And then for output, we have the using the separation and the end to represent our output. So depending on what we are trying to print, can actually do that. Okay. So that's that.